So I grew up being very aware of the fact that I felt like I was called by God into ministry. I knew that I wanted to marry a minister. When I was 16, I met a man who I thought would be the fulfiller of my dreams. Unfortunately, he was not. As time went on, I started seeing red flags of erratic and frightening behavior. I ended up marrying him knowing on my wedding day that I was headed for doom. After we got married, of course, it all escalated. As most women that are in the church, and especially a minister's wife will do, we do and say all the right things to make sure that we've got it all together. You can come to me with your problems. And then I happened to be the one that was having the problems behind closed doors, and there was no way that I was going to be able to tell anybody about that because we're the ones everybody comes to. And so I just kept the happy face, and as the years went on, my sons were born, and we ended up living a life of domestic abuse. I watched him punch holes in walls or scream so violently in my face that my face would be covered in his saliva. But the thing that's interesting is, in my situation, he never punched me, he never gave me a black eye. And so that is what everyone equates abuse with. I had to leave. And it didn't matter what thousands of people across the nation thought about me. It didn't matter what my family thought about me, or even my own sons, which I had their support, but it wouldn't have mattered at that point. I knew as long as I had God that I was going to be okay, and that He had my back. So I remember thinking, what am I gonna do? I have nothing. I'm literally broken, and God can't ever use me again. And now I have, all of this baggage. What am I supposed to do with all of this? But as God would have it, He led me on a path to be able to provide for myself. I had known a friend in the past who now was vice president of a property management company, and she provided me an apartment in a luxury apartment home, gave me a job, and I started my new life. I learned about the real world because so much of my world consisted of just the church at the time, and I love the church with all my heart. It is not the church's fault that I went through what I went through. Jesus is the healer. He reaches us in the darkest places, but I had to come to a realization within myself that I had to make some changes. I wanted to be able to instill in women the strength to overcome and to find victory and to find hope and to find healing and to find a place where they can say, yes, this has happened to me, but that doesn't mean that I have to be broken to stay. That brokenness is just temporary, and that there is a strength in me that God has put there. I've just got to find it. And so I began reaching out to women. I've started speaking around the country and have been able to meet and connect with a lot of women throughout the country and even throughout the world, to be able to connect with them and say, there is hope on the other side, and I'm example of that. And one of the verses on my website is Isaiah 61, and this is what I want to do and what I want to be about. And it says, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. If I can encourage one woman to conquer fear and to live victoriously, then hope glimmering will be a success, and it will surpass expectation, and my journey will be worth it all.